This is Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting. Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. I want to remind everybody to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like and share this video. All right, we're going to jump right in today.
Jumping right in.
Today.
Yo, turn down my mic for a second.
You got it, bro. So we're hitting up chapter 3 of the book, Acting is My Day Job, 7 Strategies to Market and Make Money as an Actor. This book is available on Amazon and really all the places where books are sold online. So, so chapter 3 is about building your team, about your support system, the people around you, and how to do that properly. And much like every other chapter, this is connected to life as well as acting. So we're gonna tap right into that. Before we do that, I'm gonna rewind a little bit, talk about where we came from. So chapter 1 was get out there, which is jump 2 feet, don't look back, get started. And there's definitely some tips and tricks and best practices for doing that. And then number 2 is get organized, and we went over that yesterday. Just how to organize your life and organize your career, and how to systematically go about the process of becoming an actor or a professional, really, in anything, but especially something you love to do, something you really want to do, and how to make that a more of a job and less of something that you just kind of do as a hobby. So number 3, and this is really, really important. The third chapter is entitled Build Your Team. And the people around you, I mean, they are so vital to your success. I mentioned how I like to be inspired, and I like to go back and quote certain people. And so this chapter begins with a quote by Wesley Snipes. It goes like this: "Your circle should want to see you win. Your circle should clap loudly when you have good news. If not, get a new circle." Wesley Snipes. I love that. I love that concept. Is this nowadays it seems to be that people go for the shiny thing. They want to be a part of the winning team. They like loyalty it's a super important thing. And I think it's sometimes underestimated how much a loyal team can actually benefit you and where you're going. And so what Wesley Snipes is saying is, if your team is not on board, if they're not super excited for you, if they're not pumped, if they're not on your side, then you need to get a new team. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You don't want to be around people who don't have the same vision as you.
That's right. Or here's the thing too. People get jealous really easily. And so if you become the one, let's say we're all kind of doing whatever, and then all of a sudden you become the one that sort of pops and you do something interesting, and you sense jealousy, you smell jealousy there. You need to get a new circle. Cuz that should never be the reaction.
Smells like jealousy in here.
It does? In here?
No.
Oh no!
Our team is violated.
No, it doesn't smell. It smells delicious in here.
It does. It smells like roses.
You just came up with something.
I really did. Yeah. I came up with the first thing I thought of.
So we want to build our team. So there's 3 things I talk about in here. And the first one is for you to manage your team. Like there's a team management that has to happen. And those people are going to be your agent, your manager, perhaps your lawyer, your accountant, maybe even someone that helps you with social. Like basically, as you build any company, and acting is no different. You are an entrepreneur, as we've talked about. Acting is your day job. You are an entrepreneur. As you build and get better, eventually, some of the jobs that you do, you'll want to vendor out to other people. So when it comes to your agent, for instance, I can't tell you how many people come in and they're like, I want to get an agent. How do I get an agent? Is there a way to get an agent? And I'm like, yeah, there is, of course. But the number one, there's a system. Number two, you want to be in a place where every agent wants you so that you can pick versus them feeling like they got you. So that way you can look at every agency and go, which is the one that I really want to be with? Which is the one that I feel called to? Because at the end of the day, once you get past that first step, and it's weird how this works, but the first step with an agent is you have to audition for the agent. So you have to get good, and it's like a job interview. You got to come in and perform, and the agent's got to say, yeah, I want you. I want to take you in. And it'll either be like a look, like do you have the look if you're in the modeling world, or do you have the talent in the acting world, and ideally both. And the agent's going to go, yeah, I want to bring you on, or no, you need more training, or however that works. So my theory on this is you want to get working, you want to get out there, you want to start doing before you go through that process so you feel really confident. Now, you can go after an agent anytime. There's nothing saying that you can't go today, by the way. So if someone's asking me, like, when's a great time to get started, it's like now. And yes, good morning, Astrid. So good to see you as always. So when is a good time to audition for your agent? Now is the time.
Wait, did you just read that off the computer screen?
No, I read that off the TV.
Like the TV?
Yeah.
What? Wow, you didn't even have your glasses on.
I think it's because it's far away.
So you're nearsighted.
Whatever the sighted is, yeah.
I mean, it would make sense that nearsighted is close, farsighted is far.
Yeah, and I don't know if it means nearsighted means you can see near, or nearsighted means you can't see near.
All right, quick poll question. Anybody in the comments who can clarify this for the two of us? You are the winner of the day.
So you get your agent, okay? And here's the deal. Once you land your agent, they work for you. You don't work for them. They literally are a sales person who makes a commission off of your work. That's what happens. That's the truth. They're going to make 10%, 20%, depending on if you're with SAG or not with SAG, or if you're in a union or non-union state. They're going to make a percentage of what you make. In fact, sometimes they make a percentage of what you make, and they also take an agency fee, like another percentage on top of that. So they're making their money. They work for you. You need to make sure they're working for you. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. But how do you earn that kind of respect? Well, the way you earn that kind of respect is you need to be somebody who is grinding. What do we got an answer there?
Yeah, Astrid said nearsighted means you can't see far because I'm nearsighted. So it's opposites, which I would not have guessed.
So there you go.
There you go. You were right. I was wrong.
I wasn't right. I was just questioning because I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't say I was like, I think it's this. I was just like, is it that? Because I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you were closer to right than I was.
I was right to not know.
I wish I could change Astrid's name on here because really we know it's Astrid and Ben. What's up, Ben? We never say good morning to you.
AB.
Good morning, Ben.
That's funny. We should. You've heard of the AP poll, like for college football?
No, well, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
So it's like it's the Associated
100%
Press, which I don't know if people actually trust that anymore. But it's the Associated Press, which is essentially like a bunch of media outlets get together, and it's supposed to be the average of those people, the columnists.
Yeah,
and they'll vote for who they think is the best. And so let's say Alabama is ranked 1 or Clemson is ranked 1. It'll show who's 2 and 3 and 4, and usually those teams you'll see got a few first place votes. So every week, whoever gets to submit to this poll, they all get to rank who they think the top 25 teams are, and it's ranked together. So anyway, I was thinking just to be funny, the AP poll, this could be the AB poll.
Yeah.
Astrid
I mean,
Ben.
makes sense. Astrid Ben. We're coming up with all sorts of new segments with Brian gone. We kind of just have to.
Yeah.
I feel like every day we're like throwing something new, silly, fun in there because, you know, you got to fill the void a little bit.
Bro, we should just really quick. This is a perfect time for this. I wasn't planning on it, but we should jump into Brian for a second.
Jump in.
Because, you know, so our boy Brian, if you don't know who he is, he's a teacher here. He's a co-founder here at the studio. He was with me since day one, even before the studio started, Brian was working with me. I'm talking back when he was like 13. So, and he's in his 30s now. So it's been around a long time.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And anyway, so he's got this autoimmune disease, yada, yada, yada. Well, right now he's sick. He's in the hospital. It's not coronavirus, but it is a virus, and it's attacking his kidney. And Joey and I keep thinking, well, hoping that it's not a big deal, because the last time it wasn't, the time before that it wasn't, and then the time before that it was. And so it's like this back and forth deal. And so it's one of those times where like all of a sudden we're going, okay, maybe this is real. And it's pretty scary watching your boy get sicker, watching him get thinner. Like, it's not fun. And, you know, just speaking of building your team, right? He's a vital part of this studio. And so, you know, when there's one of your teammates is out, just imagine there being a tripod and you just knock out one of the legs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's definitely tough. And going back to loyalty, I mean, Bry Guy, he's a loyal dude. So
Yeah,
we miss you, Bry. If you're watching out there, throw some prayers out there for our man Brian.
we would really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, he's heart and soul around here, you know?
Yeah.
We carry it together, but he is the fun, silly, like, hey guys, it's me, Brian. I'm the community builder, and
Totally.
I love all of you, and I know all you by names, even though I'm terrible at names, and I'll remember all your weird, quirky, awkward gestures.
That's why it's
I will
funny.
not.
Like last night, I was bringing up the other side too, to be funny, because it's weird that you actually, you know what I mean. You miss the bad too.
You missed the things that drove you nuts before.
Right. I'm like Brian's not here to be an absolutist right now.
Yeah, like last night, I'm not gonna lie, because I needed a little like just jolt of like remembering like happiness or whatever. So I went back through our texts to like see the last nice thing he said about me.
Did it take a while to get there?
Yeah, it really did. But what's funny is like on the way there, it's all like, hey, I'll be in 10 minutes. I'm icing my feet, or like hey,
running late.
Can you get me this? No ketchup, just pickles, or like so many food orders, and I'm like, God, I miss that. And in the moment, sometimes I would be like, man, like, go buy your own food, man. Like,
Yeah.
my wallet is hurting.
Well, and that's what I've always told Brian too. It's you know, he's in an interesting spot, because if you look at this right now, dude can't eat. Like, that's how bad it is. He can't eat right now. He can't. I was on the phone with him. He's eating ice chips and getting nauseous, and I'm like, bro, what's with your? I'm like angry at him. I'm like, what is with your stomach, bro? Like, let's go. So he's in this place where, and now you're going like, oh, I just wish he could eat some of the junk he's been eating. Like, I wish that for him. You know?
Yeah.
But then you know what happens is, and this is where you got to be careful. Like, so Brian's in the hospital, and what happens? Like, everyone's serving him 24/7. He gets out, everyone's like, "Oh, Brian, you got out. Like, let me just do all the things for you." And if you're not careful, you forget to be grateful, because you start to expect a certain thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you know, it's funny because Brian's got both sides to it. But you're right, like you miss the things that drove you nuts. Like, you just miss it.
Yeah.
I remember that the time I thought Brian was gonna die, I told you the story. But so way back when Brian lost his fingers and toes, he was in a coma for a couple weeks, and we were, I mean, doctor, thank you very much for doing this. It gave us like a 2% chance of living or something, and so it was very scary. And I was kind of like mourning him at the time, and I remember like looking around the studio, and Brian's known for not putting his junk away. So like I like look around. It's like a week later, and because we're like all in turmoil back then, and you see like he had left out a coffee cup, which drove me nuts. I hated when he did that. And I saw the coffee cup, and I just lost it. I just started crying, because I was like, it just reminded me of him, you know. And that's how we are as people, like as human beings. We have these attachments to each other, and we love each other so much. So anyway,
For sure.
Prayers out to Bry Guy. He's on our team.
Yeah. And that it's funny because it kind of fit into the chapter just because he is such a huge part of our team. So
Yeah.
it's cool to talk about that. Like, when you have the right team, you know you have the right team because you miss that void when it's gone.
Right.
Right. And he does a lot around here, and can't wait to have him back for sure because his energy and just what he does for this place goes unnoticed a lot around, and a lot of it is noticed because he's the teacher, but there's certain admin stuff like emails and communication and stuff that he's not even necessarily great at. But he chose to keep getting better at it. Like, I remember you told him, you were like, hey, you don't have to do this. Like we can find somebody to take it over. I'll do it, whatever, but it has to be done good, and you have to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And he wanted the challenge. He was like, no, it's something I'm not good at, but I want to get better at it. And months down the line, he's booking all our show guests and, like, learning how to manage people in a whole different way that, like, of communication that he didn't deal with before, which is cool. So
Yeah.
Prayers out to our bro Brian Sweeney, and when he gets back, we'll throw a shameless plug his way.
So we I talk about in the beginning of the chapter the importance of being an actor, and I don't want this to go. I don't want people to take this lightly here. Howdy. Actors are similar to big time CEOs, politicians, you name it. So, some of the people who, on a rare occasion, become mega famous, mega rich, and there's a reason why. Is because an actor has the capacity to impact the world at a massive scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that as a responsibility. I see that as an understanding that people are going to look up to the things that we do and say and produce, and so just to understand that you're diving into a profession as an actor of one that I think is one that needs to be held to a really, really high standard.
Yeah, for sure.
Knowing what you're capable of doing.
Well, and looking at those professions you compared it to, acting is one of the professions where when you get big, people try to cover up your SHIT.
Yeah, right.
Same as being a politician or being a lawyer or being high up somewhere where people want to get after you for no apparent reason. Like you better have a pretty clean slate because it's going to get pulled up. So, like, what you do in the dark, we talk about that, ends up coming out, and whether it's good or bad, like, that's up to you and your life choices. But acting is one of those things where you get so excited and it's something you strive for and you want to make it. But when you make it, just be prepared because there will be haters. There will be people who try to uncover and take you down right away because they're jealous,
Right.
like we talked about in the beginning. So
Yeah, 100%. All right, so you're gonna manage your team. That's the one thing. So the professional team, you got to manage them. You got to be on that. You gotta know who they are. You got to choose them and understand that you do have the choice. Now, starts with you building skill, but then once you're there, you earn certain people. So you've now built the team that you're going to manage, and those are going to be your agents, your lawyers, your managers, etc. And the truth is, you don't need a manager, and you don't need a lawyer until you need a manager and a lawyer.
yeah.
Right? So why would I need a manager? Well, if I've got 10, 12, 15 gigs lined up, and I've got 10, 12, 15 people trying to book jobs with me, and I've got a team of 7 people, I need someone to help me manage that. I need a manager. Until then, sometimes people get things before they need them. So they're like, oh, I want an agent and I want a manager. Well, like, why are you going to have a manager? Like, you don't need a manager. All you're doing is giving away more of your money to somebody who's you're putting the cart before the horse, so to speak.
Yeah, and what are you paying for at that point? You're paying them to do not much.
Right.
So
right.
it's like the price is not justifiable for what you got going on besides bragging rights.
Yeah.
But there's no point in that.
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? It's like, it'd be like having a personal assistant when you just don't need it. You know,
Yeah.
like you haven't earned it. You're not at a place where you're not utilizing your day anyway. So like,
Why would you have a personal assistant?
why are you vendoring out some of your work?
Yeah.
Just do the work. All right. So that's the first thing, managing your team. Okay. Now the second part is to customize your internal circle. And this is where the money's at in this chapter. And this is what Wesley Snipes was talking about. If your circle doesn't have your back, if your circle doesn't get like let's say like Astrid, right? And Ben, she's on here right now. Astrid's on our team, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Like she's on our team.
Yeah.
If Astrid landed something, how are we gonna react? Like we're gonna freak out.
Oh, we're gonna freak out. I'm probably gonna make a
Super
video
happy.
about it. Like
crazy.
yeah, we'll spread it to the masses.
And same with us. If we had something, if a video goes viral or whatever happens, you're right. Like your people got your back,
Yeah.
and you know it. You can see it. And the thing where you get stuck is when you're trying too hard to impress people that don't share your vision, your values, and you're trying to be in a circle that you don't belong in. Those people are gonna backstab you. And dude, we've experienced that many times over.
100%.
You know, where you give away the farm, you give away your trust, and you saw some of the signs coming, and you're like, give them the benefit of the doubt, and then you get burned. You know, and again, going back to politics, because I mean, obviously that's a hot topic right now. That is so prevalent in politics, where someone's your best friend at 1 second, and then they just are, you know, backstabbing you the next second.
Yeah. That's my new sound effect. Instead of hot pocket, it's gonna be hot topic.
I love it.
Yeah. New hot topic from the morning show.
So the people that surround you, and here's what they say. I think you know this. I've repeated this a bazillion times.
A bazillion, huh?
You become the average of the 5 people you hang around.
Oh yeah, he has been saying that a bazillion times.
I say it nonstop because our stand-up is going to go viral. Yes, it is, 100%.
You can't help but read the comments.
Who is that?
That's Nick.
Oh, Nick. What up,
Nick's
dog?
on here every morning too.
So I can see the words. I couldn't see his face. That's what's funny.
Yeah.
Nearsighted.
I mean,
Farsighted.
Zephed. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, like
but
who knows
that's
what
always
Zephed
been
is?
his
Like,
name.
what am I going to do with that?
I just knew from the picture. And there was the one day where he said,
Hey,
like,
it's me,
he
Zephed. I'm
he was
Zephed
an
72.
altar boy at the Moose Lodge or something. And he said in the comments one day that he was an altar boy at the Moose Lodge, and
the Moose Lodge.
Yeah,
okay.
I was laughing really hard.
I think that's one of those underground networks.
Yeah.
That's like one of the secret society things.
I mean, Nick is in a ton of secret societies.
Oh, forget about it. What are you talking about? Forget about it.
He's a winner. He's a leader.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. Here's the thing. You want Nick on your side at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you got your team, right? You got your team that's surrounding you. And here's where it becomes sad, and this is what I've told you now so many times, Joe, is I expect the people around me, and I'm talking about my wife, even my kids, my parents, like and some people like them and like you, like I can't get rid of you. Much as I want to, I can't.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, same.
We're blood.
For sure.
We went to blows just yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember.
The day before, but yeah.
We went to blows. And the truth is we were both stressed about Brian. And then we, for 2.5 minutes, took it out on each other. And then
I think we both realized we took it out
and then
on
we
each other,
hugged
and then
and
we were
kissed
both
and
like,
we
oh,
got
shit.
Oh, man.
Don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, that's right. We got better. Mom and Dad don't need to fight anymore.
Yeah, for real.
And so
Especially when there's only 2 of us. It's like,
well, we're mom and dad. Brian's
yeah,
our child.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, honestly.
But here's the deal.
He is a child.
Here's the deal, though. I have told you this, and I do believe it. And I think that the students, honestly, the next level students, would agree with it. No offense, but they don't want you here a year from now if you have not been improving during that year. They'd rather have somebody else who's been improving, who's got the mindset, who's going to go next level. And we feel that way about the students. It's not that you got to be great coming in, although that's what we're attracting these days. But it doesn't matter how big you are or how talented you are when you walk in the door. It's, do you have the mindset?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get better? And I'm going to tell you right now, people don't want to be around me either. Like, they don't want to come here if I'm not getting better, if I'm not bettering myself. Like, last night's class, like,
Was so good. It was so good.
Am I right, Nick and Astrid? Like, so good.
Yeah.
Last night's class, amazing.
It was different. We were talking about this just a second ago, but it was like a new level of teaching, like a facilitation. And it's interesting because that's something that, like, I'm sure you felt this way, but I would feel this way if I was the teacher, like, scared. Like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving them in a room by themselves. Like, technically I'm the teacher, but what's interesting is I feel like it has the tendency where it can go both ways, but last night in particular, it caused people, because you weren't there, the stress was sucked out of the room, A, and B, it was like you just go bold because you can't ask questions. Like, the person who it's their first class or whatever, like, they don't have somebody to ask questions to right away, so they just honestly just got to go for it. Like, there see everybody else and they go.
100%. There was a group that did it completely wrong. Although them doing it the way they did it wrong was actually really cool. They wrote out their scenarios instead of acting them out. They actually did just more work than they needed to. And so what was crazy is I'm realizing that. But here's the trick, Joey. That class stemmed from my willingness and desire to get better. I spent the entire morning constructing a lesson plan.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, I refined that lesson plan through teaching kids class, through teaching the teens class, and by the time I got to the adults, and as what I always say, I'm not teaching a class. I'm teaching the people that are in the class. And I looked at the people and I go, okay, based on what I've seen, based on my improvement today, here's what I think I want to try. I want to experiment because I think we're going to grow in this particular way. And I tell you this before, and you mentioned this just the other day, the idea of teaching to the person who knows the most and the person who knows the least in the class. Well, I failed to recognize, I forgot that we had a brand new student in the class that missed week 1.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that didn't hit me, and I split people off. There was a lot of people there. I mean, a lot of people.
A lot of people.
There were
so many people.
Tremendous amount of people in the room, and so I split them off, and then we did a couple of groups did the exercise wrong, including the one with the brand new person, and she's like, yeah, I don't know, it's my first day, and what I do, I took full accountability. I'm like, wait a minute, you're first, and she's like, yeah, and I was like, derp. So I just sat there for 2 seconds and I said, okay, well, here's who, what, where. Here's why we do that. And here's this, and this. Okay, good. Now go. So I'm not going to sit there in the room and hold your hand. You can do this. And she did. She had a really good class, I thought.
Yeah. She was in our script program for 3 months.
Yeah, that's what she said.
The teens. Yeah. So she's familiar to, and a lot of the people in that class were in her script class. So she was familiar to the community, to the room. It was just her first improv class.
Yeah.
So I think that part helps too, is like, if you know the people, if you're comfortable and you trust, then really you can go in with no knowledge. And sometimes you'll be better going in on your first week with no knowledge if you're comfortable than coming in 3 weeks later when you feel like you know something, because you go out there and you just go for it and you give what you have and you don't think about it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, those are the performances that I love, is when I'm able to go out there and not think about it and you just go, and then it feels like 5 minutes for the hour and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
This is over.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and so then there's a time and a place for everything, right? So I was looking at last night's class and I was going, okay, how do we maximize, because I'm always looking to get better, how do we maximize our time? And my thought was, I want to get more and more stage time. I want to get more reps. And that's what happened with me stepping out of the room and then coming back in. But I got to be ready when I come back in to just lay it down. Like, it better be good if you're going to be teaching for a particular amount of time so that everybody can soak that in. What did Nick say? What's that say?
It says, the lesson gave me a formula to follow when I walk out on stage.
Oh, good. What's the formula?
Ooh. Nick is on the spot again.
I want to know what the formula is.
Okay.
Also, what's the violation? What are you saying? There were so many people there.
It was an occupancy violation.
Probably like yeah. I mean, it's like especially nowadays, like you're not allowed to gather more than like your pinky in the room.
Yeah, my dad said that the other day, and I was like, the studio is a really big place. I'm pretty sure the 15 or 20 people we have in here, like, we're good.
Dude, here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you, like, we're all gonna need to make this decision here pretty soon, because they're gonna want to lock us down again. I ain't about that. I know there's a lot of people ain't about that. Did you just get nervous? You just get weird? You're like, Matt, don't talk about politics. This isn't political. This is like what I'm seeing on the streets. Because I mean, back when Brian was teaching, I would be like, hey guys, I'm the owner of the studio, so you got a choice. If you want to take my class, go virtual. And everyone's like, nah, go in person, thanks. People are done with the Zoom thing. They just are. So I'm honestly, I'm just worried if we go down a lockdown path, because I just don't think people want it. I think it's there's a whole nother stream of negativity that can come from being in a lockdown scenario. Now we're obviously going to follow safety protocols, which we have been doing. But there's no doubt human interaction is important, and and free speech is important, and us being able to speak our minds is important. Like, all those things are very important.
100%. Yeah, I mean, the doing class last night was huge for me. Like, being in person, I just with everything with Brian and everything, it's been tough, and I was able. You let me take the class, and it was like a breath of fresh air. It was nice to be around our community and the people I love, and do some improv and just
and you fun. Here's the thing, you have an autoimmune disease. So I noticed you kept your mask on the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, great. From what I understand, it's like 99.9% chance people get better if you don't have one of the high risk things.
Yeah.
The death rate is like through the floor, but all everyone's talking about is the fact that people are getting it more. But that's cyclical. Like, that's gonna happen. So we just have to be careful, is all I'm saying. I saw this press release yesterday, and there were these restaurant owners from Chicago, which, I mean, like
Chicago.
These are like Nick type people, like you guys.
I don't know. I don't think Nick would like it if you said that. Nick doesn't like Chicago.
Well, it's because he's from New York.
Yeah, exactly. He said that Chicago pizza is terrible and should.
Somebody
not be
from New York would
referred to
say
as
there's a
pizza.
reason they call it the second city and not the first city. But all I'm saying is, Chicago has a history, right? They've got a foundation of restaurants and eating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's these restaurant owners, and these guys are like, you could tell, like, connected guys.
Connected. Yeah.
And they were making a good point, though. Like, this one restaurant owner, he gets up and he's like, what I just don't understand is we're being shut down. Like, you guys are asking us to shut down again, and help me understand how this is fair, and why I go places where they're not shut down and people can walk in and they can, and sometimes they have a mask, sometimes they don't. People are not taking temperatures anymore. And the guy literally said, I flew to Phoenix from Chicago, and there wasn't one seat on the plane available. And it was just fine. Like, people are just allowed to do it, but you're not allowed to come into my restaurant when I'm holding up these protocols and then going above and beyond with my protocols. Why are you telling me I have to shut down? And so that's the interesting thing, is the, like, picking and choosing of this stuff. So, that's where I get worried about it, and I get worried about it for my team. My team is you, and my team is me, and my team is every student that's here, and I get worried about it for us because it feels like the team needs each other. We want to be around each other. We want to perform. We want to be connected.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the chapter we're on: build your team.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with loyal people.
All right, let's go number 3. What's the third part?
Are you trying to wrap me up, huh? You trying to get me off this subject?
Somebody said classic books, and I don't know if they were saying like nice segue, or like if they were being sarcastic. And so I'm just like, well, I mean, technically we did say we would talk about the book. Maybe you hopped on late.
Who's Aaron? Who is this person?
I don't know.
What do you mean classic books? I don't understand.
I don't know. He might not comment again. We'll see. But I just thought maybe get back to chapter 3.
We're gonna
Build your
respond
team.
to Aaron in this way. Like we're gonna just get like left fielded here.
Left fielded.
Maybe it makes a lot of sense. Maybe Aaron's got some good things to say. I just don't understand currently.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when they're 30 seconds behind because I'm like, maybe we talked about classic books.
No, maybe
and
I
the
asked
importance.
something and then he's like, "Oh, talk about classic books."
Mm.
You know, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, classic books like Acting is My Day Job,
Seven
Seven Strategies to Market and Make Money as an Actor. It's available everywhere. Walmart,
Everywhere a book can be
Target,
sold online.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Almost forgot the name. Nobody goes to bookstores anymore.
I was talking to JD last night in the lobby, and he grabbed one of the books off the shelf, and he's like, "Hey, is this like are these for sale?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool." And he's like, "I'm gonna get one." And he puts it back down. I'm like, "You can get it." He's like, "No, on my Kindle."
That's so funny.
Yeah.
No, on my Kindle.
And I was like, "Okay, well, yeah,
You're
it's
like-
available on Kindle.
And you're sitting there like, I mean, I'll sign it for you.
Give me your iPad. I'll
yeah.
sign your iPad."
Just Sharpie on the iPad screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
All right. So speaking of classic books, which we were not talking about, Aaron. I don't know who Aaron is. I want to know who Aaron is now. I'm like obsessed with Aaron. What's Aaron's last name?
I am not even gonna attempt to pronounce it.
Aaron.
Baccarisas?
Buck? I don't think it's a buck. It's a
Bach.
Bach.
Baccarisas?
All right, Aaron. I think I like you, but I don't know. Maybe I'm offended by you. Not sure. It's not like you said anything offensive.
No, he didn't. That's why I was just like, oh,
like
maybe
classic
he hopped
books.
on late and was like classic books. You know,
All right. So
talk about your class.
before I go to the third thing, let me just wrap this idea of surrounding yourself with people. So here's why I'm so adamant about the idea of bettering yourself is because you become the average of the people you surround yourself with. So if the people you surround yourself with are not getting better on a daily basis, then essentially they're getting worse. Which means if you're trying to get better, you're going to continue to go down to your average and go down to your average and go down to your average. So you want to be surrounded with people that are pushing themselves who are trying to get better. That's it. This is the whole reason why wealthy people want to send their kids to Harvard so they can surround themselves with other kids from Harvard. And senators' kids hang around senators' kids, and then they end up becoming senators. And the cycle goes round and round. That's the idea.
Till somebody breaks it.
But having said that, don't be afraid to move on from people. Sometimes that just happens, and you can see it, you can feel it happening, and don't fight it. If it's happening naturally, don't fight it. Know this, okay, everybody, understand this concept. You are a butterfly, all right, but you start off as a caterpillar, and you're walking around with a bunch of other caterpillars, and then you start to change. You go into your cocoon and you start adapting and changing, and then boom, you come out of your cocoon and you're a butterfly. And you look around and you see the other caterpillars and you're like, guys, guess what? We can fly. And the caterpillars are like, nah, I'm just cool being a caterpillar. And you're like, but we can be butterflies if you want to be butterflies. Like, nah, I just don't feel like it. I'm just like being a caterpillar. If you're not careful, the caterpillars are going to grab your legs, and you as a butterfly are trying to fly away, and the caterpillars got you. And they're like, stay with us, we're caterpillars. And you're like, all right, I'll come back to the bar and drink with you, caterpillars. And now you become you're the butterfly among the caterpillars, which feels safe, it feels fun, you get to be the hero. But if you're brave, you go, hey guys, I love you. Here's how I became a butterfly. I can give you the roadmap, but I got to go be a butterfly. And anybody wants to come with me, and people will. They will want to. Not all, though. But here's the roadmap. You want to do it? It's a cocoon. Takes a couple weeks. You're gonna adapt. Cool.
That's a great analogy.
That's how you do it. But I'm gonna jump. Now here's the issue. A butterfly can fly, but doesn't know it until it takes off. And doesn't even know that there are other butterflies out there. So you feel lonely. You feel alone. You feel like, I want to stay where I'm safe among the other caterpillars. But you got to be willing to go and fly to the next thing. Now this cycle, if you just imagine that it continues to evolve, that's what happens over and over and over and over again. with you surrounding yourself with new people. So maybe you go to your next spot and now you have to go through that evolution process again. And that's what it means to be constantly getting better, constantly improving. And that's why you want to be doing that. That's why you want to surround yourself with those kind of people. All right, so I ended this chapter on, I just said, hey, here's a bonus for you.
Bonus? I feel like there's a bonus in every chapter.
Yeah, I tried to throw a little bonus in there.
Dang.
Yeah, just because I like bonuses.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like a bonus?
I mean, everybody.
You want? I mean, if I could have a bonus, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a bonus. It was the truth about casting directors, because the truth about the casting director business here is I only got into the business because I felt like I was forced into it. I felt like at a certain point I was being discriminated against here locally. And at a certain point I was hearing stories about casting directors being not nice, treating people poorly, being arrogant, acting like this or that. I experienced sitting through castings where you sit there for 2 hours and I'm like, this ain't right. We can do better than this. Mm-hmm. The industry deserves better than this. I've been through a really great casting process 10 years ago. I know what it feels like. I've been to LA where everyone thinks it's so scary. It's not. Like, the best of the best casting directors are awesome in LA. Like, they're great. So I got forced into it. Mm-hmm. So the truth about casting directors is this. They've got a job. You do want to know who the person is, for sure. You want to understand their point of view. Okay, great. But don't get intimidated. Don't let a casting director, make you feel a certain way, like you're not capable of whatever. The casting director, their one bit of power is they've got a list of pictures and they're going to bring in who they like. Well, guess what? Here's the secret. If you become so good, you will get to a point where even the people who don't like you will have to bring you in. This happened to me. There was a casting director in town who didn't like me. Mm. I don't know why. How could you not like me? But Joey,
I'm just kidding.
Joey. No, for real. So, a little vendetta there. They didn't like me. Well, the client had worked with me before, and the casting director didn't have me on the list. And the client was like, hey, are you going to bring, what's with, how come Matt's not on there? And he's like, he's like, why don't you bring him in? I'd like to see him. I got cast reluctantly. The casting director had to cast me in something that I got flown out to Utah. It was like a really cool gig. And the idea being there, from the talent, I couldn't be denied. Mm-hmm. And that's the position you want to be in.
It goes back to, you said the casting director has to cast you. The casting director doesn't cast you.
That's right. The client.
The name is false.
Well,
it is and it isn't.
You're the director.
You're a coordinator.
Yeah, coordinator. You're the director of the casting.
There's a ton that goes into it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they ask your advice on certain things depending on who the client is, but the client makes the decision because they're the ones who are paying for the commercial. So
that's the truth.
Don't get your mindset wrong where it's like, oh yeah, if the casting director doesn't like me, I'm not getting cast. That's not true because they're not the one who cast the commercial.
So the bonus here is you can go into any casting confident. People will try to bring you down. Don't let them. It's all up here. You perform a certain way. The producer, the director, whoever who's watching, they're going to see your talent on the camera. And then they're going to call you back.
Ain't nobody breaking my sound.
All right. 2 times.
Greg is back
About
again.
time.
You were right. He must be on here every morning.
Dude, 2 times the biggest fan. He's
Oh, man, I should take that.
2 times.
2 times. Oh, I miss playing ball with him so much. Jeez.
Yeah.
I was yesterday. I felt like I couldn't breathe in here. Like when you were gone, I was like doing some back end stuff, and then I was just like, like the air is thickening because I got some bad news about Brian. And I went out and I was like, I just gotta like go run. And so I went to the public park and just like shot some hoops for a minute. And whole time I was thinking, I was like, man, I miss Sunday basketball.
Dude, you have no idea. obviously, because
Yeah.
I miss it so much more than you do.
I mean, probably. Yeah.
Because it's been an extra year for me
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of my injury.
That's true.
And I so believe in what you just said about blowing off steam,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't had that in 2.5 years.
Ugh.
I can't run.
There's so much steam built up in Matthew Deering right now.
It's I'm going for another surgery. Everybody, cross your fingers. Number 3 here. It's funny because I think my surgeon was really good, actually, from what I hear. But my wife's so funny. She's like, that man is not touching you again. So I got a new surgery.
Also, you're not allowed to have surgery until Brian's out of the hospital.
That's not true, dog. That's not true. I'm having surgery as soon as I can.
Oh man.
Cannot wait.
Just people show up. Hi, welcome to Deering Acting Studio. It's me, Joey. You know, these guys. I'll just have a picture of both of you. Like
Yeah.
he's out for knee surgery. This guy is just recovering. So I'm jack of all trades today. Like, what do you want to know? I'll teach it to you.
All right, guys.
Good stuff.
That is it. Chapter 3. Build your team. So important. You want people like Astrid and Nick and 2 times backing you up. It's so important.
Heck yeah.
All right, love you guys. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share this channel. Help us spread this light-driven content to the planet. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.